everyone, how good is Victor Wembanyama? I mean, this kid is incredible, right? He is a true unicorn. He's being compared as like the next Kevin Durant. He's a lot more refined than Kevin Durant was, and he had an absolute showing in an exhibit game. He put up 37 points on 7 of 11 from three-point range with 5 blocks, and he was playing against the number 2 prospect behind him, who many believe will be the number 2 pick in the same draft, and that was Scoot Henderson, who he put up 28, 5, and 9, which he in and of himself, we'll have to do a separate video on him. But I just want to talk about Victor, because he's the one that everyone is going to tank for, right? I mean, there's already execs joking, hint, hint, wink, wink, that teams are ready to tank, that everyone's tanking for this kid. This kid is supposed to be the next future of the NBA, the next future franchise cornerstone, the guy that, like, if you're a bad team, Victor's going to come in and he's going to save the day, and he's going to completely change the fates and the tides of your franchise. And look, at 7'2", that's a real possibility. There's not very many 7'2" players in the world, even in the NBA, that can do some of the stuff that he can do. I mean, the skill set of just him bringing up the ball. I mean, you watch like just footage of him. He's bringing the ball up the court. He's dribbling. He's crossing dudes over. He's, penetrating into the lane, like just shooting over people. He's just so tall. He doesn't have to even do much to just get over most people. And if he can develop into that generational guy that many people believe he can, then I just think that this dude could be the ultimate mismatch in the NBA. The guy could shoot lights out from 3. The guy can shoot anywhere on the court. The guy has the low post game, is just quick and agile, plays like a point guard. And because he's, from the French professional team, he's worked with a lot of these great French players. And just the type of EuroLeague, you see that in his game. And it's more like the Europeans and just a lot of just leagues in the world in general. Like, a lot of these pro players have talked about it, that how much harder it is to score because the court's a lot smaller, right? So teams are able, there's not as much spacing, stuff like that. But also just working on all of the ins and outs, all of the intangibles of the game. As opposed to a lot of NBA prospects. You see a lot of them. They're really good at specific things, but they're not really good at everything. But you get a guy like Luka where he's pretty much good at everything. I mean, defense, but the guy is so good at everything. And you see a lot of these, foreign prospects that come in, and they're just so refined, and they're so easily adjusted immediately. It's the reason the Spurs loved to go get those, European players and had French players and Argentinian players and stuff like that, and were able to build a dynasty around it. Because the way that they play the game is so unselfish. It's so, every skill is refined. Some of them are just different levels than others, of course. But, I mean, look at the NBA in general. All of the guys that are the top 5, to 10 prospects are all from, other countries. You got Giannis, you got Joker, you got Embiid, the list goes on. Luka, the list goes on and on. We're seeing a more global game. And we're seeing more guys like Victor just really standing out and sort of changing the landscape. And this is a guy that could come in and really do that. I mean, this guy is hyped unlike nobody's business, right? This guy, the game yesterday was must-see TV. And you saw 2 of the potential future faces of the league just going at it. And it was a great game. And you even saw Victor get the best couple times because he's just so long, he's just so lengthy, and his ability to just recover because he's quick and agile and has that 7'2" length. It's just good luck. And now look, I don't want to put too much on him, right? We've seen a lot of players just be absolutely just hyped up and the next sure thing, and then come in the league and they're not. And we've even seen some, like Zion, who he still needs to prove himself. That guy could be an absolute monster, but he can't stay healthy. And that's a big concern. And that's always the concern with bigs. Now, again, he's 7'2", 7'3". He's got an 8-foot wingspan, which is insane. The dude basically could dunk just standing. He doesn't even really have to jump. It's crazy how big and how agile. It's just, you watch him play and you're just like, this is a real person. It's insane. But will that wear and tear of the NBA be be his undoing, you know? He's going to need to put on weight. He's going to need to put on size, which is not something that can't be done. We've seen lots of guys. I mean, even Dwight Howard is a great example, right? Dwight Howard was a skinny, just scrawny noodle and turned out, and now look at it. I mean, the dude was, within like 3 years just became this beast, and it completely changed his game, and he became this dominant force in the NBA. I mean, even guys like Shaq. Shaq, I mean, go look at, LSU Shaq stuff. I mean, he was still big. I mean, he wasn't like, Victor size, but he wasn't what he was, when he was the Lakers winning championship Shaq. It was night and day. So the possibility of him, putting on size and stuff like that, but that also wears on your ankles, your knees, all of that stuff. The NBA is physical. I mean, it's not as physical as it once was, but you still have big bodies. You still have guys. You have guys that are, throwing into you and just banging you down, especially as a young prospect coming into the league. Players and teams are going to want to go at you. Oh, you're the new face? Oh, you're the new guy? Okay, well, watch. Welcome to the league. We see it. Every rookie, every player has their welcome to the league moment, right? Where they just get just completely immobilized, just big dunk or just crossover. Now you're on the floor, just like, and then everyone gets that. Everyone has that moment. And Victor will have those too. But can he stay healthy? Can he stay evolving his game to the NBA? Now, we've heard countless players talk about how the NBA is much easier to score in compared to some of these other leagues, just because, again, the floor is more open. Defenses, there's the NBA is a lot softer than it used to be. Let's just be honest. And, so that is going to be something that he's really going to benefit for him. He's a guy that can come in and he's more finesse than anything, which is fine. I mean, again, Kevin Durant, look at Kevin Durant. He's always been a more finesse player and just an elite scorer and stuff like that. If he can even become, a quarter of what Kevin Durant is, then you do have a player that could change the fate of your franchise, right? That can completely turn it around. You put the right assets and the right players around this guy, you could probably be a contender in a couple of years. And just like anything else, it's going to take time for him to get, assimilated to the league and have him just kind of really carve out his name and his role. At the same time, there is always, those exceptions. Look at Luka. Luka came in and immediately was like a top 15 player in the league. Immediately. Like, you were like, what? Like, where did this kid come from? So there's always that potential. There's always that possibility, especially at his size. But look at like Chet. Chet is a great example, right? Similar size, not quite there, but similar size, similar play style, similar play set. And there's a lot of concerns about Chet. There's a lot of questions about Chet. There were a lot of questions coming in the league. He ends up getting hurt, unfortunately, so we're not going to get to see him actually perform this season and kind of get like that little sample size, because it would have been nice. Like, how does Chet hold up against some of these NBA guys, and how does he perform on the court? Would have given us a nice little indicator of what we could expect from Victor. Not saying that Victor isn't better or anything like that. He very well could be. But I'm saying, like, just to have a sample size of a player that is very similar would have been nice to look at and compare and go, oh, I mean, look at what Chet did. Chet put up 20, 9-9 or something crazy like that, or let's say he just put up 20 points and 9 rebounds a game and gave out a couple assists. You got to be looking at like, okay, he did that as a rookie. Victor, this guy should be able to at least emulate that, right? Like, so it would have given a nice sort of idea of what to expect. But nonetheless, I mean, look, this kid has a incredible future. He is an incredible talent. If you have an opportunity to go watch one of his games, go watch one of his games. This dude is definitely worth the hype. It's just, will it translate to the NBA? That's the big thing. But he is the can't miss prospect. He is the guy that's supposed to be he's the player that everyone, the Spurs especially. And the Pop loves these guys, these French players and stuff. Like, this is Pop's like dream player, right? A 7'2" French player that can shoot anywhere, do anything. Like, don't let him go to the Spurs, because if he goes to the Spurs, I think he might have like a monster career. I think the Spurs could potentially have another dynasty in the works just because of the way Pop operates and the players he looks for, and he knows exactly what he needs to do with a guy like him. I don't want to get too high on him, but if Pop ends up getting this kid, I think Pop sticks in the league for a couple more years, and I wouldn't be shocked if in 3 to 5 years after they draft him, they are in the conversation for a contender because Pop's going to go all in at that point. Pop's going to do what he needs to do. Like, if this kid is as good as everyone thinks he is, even myself, I think this kid has tremendous talent. But if he ends up being anything close to what people think he is and Pop gets him, I'm telling you, Pop's going to push his chips to the table. He's going to say, let's go get some more championships. Let's go get some more rings. That's just who Pop is, and he loves these kind of players. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think of Victor? Do you love him? Do you hate him? Do you think he's somewhere in between? Do you think he's going to be a superstar talent? Do you think he's just going to be another guy, another face in the league? Do you think he's going to be like an all-star level and maybe not a superstar? Where do you rank him? What do you think of him? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down